What if Cleopatra could text Caesar? Hello, and welcome back. Tonight, we take a quiet step back in time to a world very different from ours, yet not so far from the lives we know. This is the story of what might have happened if Cleopatra could text Caesar. A quiet thread connecting empires, where each message carried the weight of power, love, and possibility, reshaping history in silence. Before we begin, I'd love to know, what time is it right now where you are? Write it gently in the comments below. And if you enjoy my story for you tonight, feel free to like this video. It truly helps the video being discovered by people who have difficulties sleeping. And of course, subscribe for new calming, boring stories every week. Now, take a deep breath, settle in, and let this story guide you toward calm and deep sleep. Picture this: you're settling into your evening routine, perhaps checking messages from friends or family. The gentle glow of your device, the quiet ping of notifications, the comfort of staying connected across distances. Now imagine if two of history's most thoughtful leaders had this same peaceful connection spanning the ancient Mediterranean. What if Cleopatra VII, the wise pharaoh of Egypt, could send gentle messages to Julius Caesar? What if their legendary partnership unfolded not through formal ceremonies in marble halls, but through quiet evening conversations and carefully chosen words? Let me tell you a story that rewrites history, one thoughtful message at a time. The year is 48 BCE, but in this version of events, the gods have gifted humanity with a peaceful technology. Golden devices that rest gently in the palm of your hand, capable of sending kind words across vast distances in the blink of an eye. The Romans call them scriptum quietum, quiet writing. The Egyptians prefer Ka-Hotep, peaceful voice. But to Cleopatra, resting on silk cushions in her palace chamber by the gentle light of oil lamps, it's simply her way of reaching out for understanding. Her fingers move slowly over the glowing symbols that have somehow transformed into letters she can read. The device translates everything, a gift that brings people together across languages and lands. She's about to send the most important message of her life, and her heart beats steadily, calmly, as she thinks of the right words to use. She writes, "Caesar, I would be honored to speak with you. Alexandria this evening. Perhaps we could meet peacefully." The message rests there for a moment, 3 gentle dots appearing and disappearing as she considers her words. This isn't just any message. This is her quiet hope, her gentle request in a situation where patience and wisdom matter more than anything else. You see, her brother Ptolemy XIII has recently suggested that perhaps he should rule alone. At 21, she's already been pharaoh for 3 years, but Egyptian royal tradition usually means siblings sharing the throne. The challenge is that Ptolemy's advisors have been whispering to him that he might be better suited to rule by himself. They've been speaking quietly in his ear, and they have influence with the palace guard. So here she is, staying quietly in the eastern gardens with a handful of loyal friends, watching her kingdom change around her like shifting sand. But she has one peaceful path forward, one chance to set things right through wisdom rather than conflict. Julius Caesar, the most respected leader in Rome, has recently arrived in Alexandria, seeking to resolve disputes. If she can speak with Caesar thoughtfully, she might just find a way back to her rightful place. She sends the message gently into the night. The response comes sooner than she expected, the device chiming softly like a distant bell in the lamp-lit quiet of her chamber. Who is this? How did you get this number? She can almost hear the suspicion in his voice, can picture him in the royal palace that should be hers, surrounded by her brother's advisors who definitely didn't give him her contact information. Caesar's famous for his caution, his tactical mind that's conquered Gaul and made him the most feared general in Rome. He won't meet with just anyone, especially not someone texting him cryptically in the middle of the night. This is Cleopatra the 7th Philopator, rightful queen of Egypt. I believe you're currently sleeping in my bed. The typing indicators appear and disappear several times. She can imagine him processing this, perhaps walking to the window of her royal chambers, looking out over the harbour where her city gleams like a jewel against the Mediterranean darkness. Prove it. She smiles despite everything. Even over text, she can feel his sharp intelligence, the careful mind that's made him the most powerful man in the world. She knows exactly how to prove who she is. You've been in Alexandria for 3 days. You arrived on the Ides expecting to find Pompey, but my brother's advisors had already sent him away. They told you he had fled to other lands, thinking you'd be pleased. Instead, you seemed troubled, not because you wanted conflict, but because they robbed you of the chance to negotiate peace with a fellow Roman. Am I right? This time, the pause is longer. When his response comes, she can hear the shift in his tone, even through text. Where are you? Close enough to know you've been sampling the food from my private kitchen, the honey cakes from my personal chef. My compliments. You have excellent taste. This is impossible. My guards have secured the entire district. Your guards are very competent. But this isn't about evading Roman soldiers, Caesar. This is about saving Egypt and Rome. She lets that hang there, knowing his mind is already racing through possibilities. Caesar didn't become master of the known world by ignoring opportunities, especially ones that promise mutual benefit. What do you want? What I've always wanted. My throne, my kingdom, my birthright. And what do I get out of this midnight meeting with a deposed queen? Now comes the dangerous part. She has to make him an offer he can't refuse. Something that appeals not just to his ambition, but to his strategic mind. She knows from her spies that Rome is drowning in debt from Caesar's campaigns. She knows he needs Egypt's wealth, Egypt's grain, Egypt's strategic position, controlling the eastern Mediterranean, Egypt's treasury, Egypt's grain, Egypt's loyalty, and something else, something your enemies in Rome would kill for, which is knowledge of their plans. Did you think Pompey came to Egypt by accident? My brother's advisors have been in communication with your enemies for months. I know which senators are planning to move against you when you return to Rome. I know their timeline, their resources, their strategy. The response comes immediately. Send me everything you know. Now. Oh, Caesar. She can't help but smile as she types. I'm not some merchant hawking information in the agora. I'm the Queen of Egypt. If you want what I know, you meet me face to face, as equals. You're hardly in a position to negotiate, Cleopatra. From what I hear, you don't even control your own palace. The words sting because they're true, but she's learned something important from watching her ancestors navigate the treacherous waters of international politics. Sometimes weakness can be strength if you know how to use it. You're right. I have nothing. No army, no palace, no throne. Just information that could save your life and a plan that could make us both the most powerful people in the world. Still interested? Another long pause. She pictures him weighing options, calculating risks and rewards with that brilliant tactical mind. Finally, where? The Great Library, main reading room. 1 hour. Absolutely not. Too exposed. Caesar, I'm about to trust you with my life. The least you can do is trust me with yours. Besides, we're better to meet than in the greatest repository of knowledge in the world. Fitting, don't you think? How do I know this isn't a trap? She laughs out loud in her empty tent, the sound echoing off the fabric walls. Even her most loyal followers are asleep, leaving her alone with her golden device and the most dangerous conversation of her life. Because if I wanted you dead, you'd already be dead. I'm Cleopatra, Caesar. I don't need armies to eliminate my enemies. I just need to be cleverer than they are. It's a bluff, of course. She doesn't have assassins positioned throughout the city, doesn't have some elaborate murder plot in motion. But she's banking on Caesar's respect for reputation, and her reputation is formidable. Even in exile, even stripped of her throne, the name Cleopatra still carries weight. 1 hour, but I'm bringing guards. Bring whoever you like, but leave them outside. What I have to say is for your ears only. She doesn't wait for his response. Instead, she begins the most dangerous journey of her life, slipping through Alexandria's twisting streets toward the Great Library. The city she's ruled for 3 years feels foreign now, full of shadows and potential threats. Every footstep echoes too loudly. Every breeze carries the possibility of discovery. But as she moves through the darkness, her device chimes with new messages. How do I know you'll come alone? You don't. But consider this. If I betray you tonight, I lose any chance of ever ruling Egypt again. If you betray me, you gain nothing and lose everything I'm offering. The mathematics are simple. You're assuming I need what you're offering. Caesar, you're brilliant, but you're not omniscient. Rome is about to tear itself apart, and you'll be caught in the middle. You need allies, not enemies. You need Egypt's resources, not Egypt's resistance. And whether you admit it or not, you need someone who understands power as well as you do. She's at the library now, slipping through passages she's known since childhood. The Great Library of Alexandria isn't just a repository of books. It's a city within a city, a maze of reading rooms, lecture halls, laboratories, and living quarters for scholars from across the known world. She knows every secret entrance, every hidden corridor. I'm here. Where? Look up. From her position in the gallery overlooking the main reading room, she can see him enter. Even in the dim light of oil lamps, Julius Caesar is unmistakable. Tall, lean, moving with the controlled grace of a man who's spent his life on battlefields. He's alone, as promised, though she's sure his guards are positioned throughout the surrounding area. He looks up, scanning the gallery until his eyes find hers. Even from a distance, even in the flickering lamplight, the moment their gazes meet feels electric. This is it, the moment that will determine the fate of kingdoms. She descends the marble stairs slowly, each step calculated for maximum effect. She's chosen her outfit carefully. Royal purple silk that proclaims her status. Gold jewellery that catches the light, but nothing so elaborate as to seem desperate or trying too hard. She needs to look like a queen, not a supplicant. Caesar watches her approach with those famously piercing eyes, and she can practically see him taking her measure. She's heard all the stories, how he seduced Sevilla, how he charmed the Gallic chieftains before crushing them, how he could make anyone believe anything if it served his purposes. But she's Cleopatra the Seventh, descendant of Alexander's general, inheritor of the Ptolemaic genius for both warfare and diplomacy. If anyone can match Caesar's legendary charisma, it's her. "You're younger than I expected," he says when she reaches the bottom of the stairs. "You're older than I hoped," she replies, and is gratified to see his mouth twitch with what might be amusement. They stand there for a moment, two of the most powerful people in the world, sizing each other up in the hushed silence of the great library. Around them, scrolls and codices hold the accumulated knowledge of centuries. But tonight, they're focused entirely on each other. "So," Caesar says finally, "you have information about plots against my life." "I do. But first, let's discuss terms." "Terms?" "I told you, Caesar. I'm not a merchant. I'm a queen negotiating with another sovereign. We discuss terms." She can see him reassessing her, recognizing that despite her youth, despite her current circumstances, she's every bit as calculating as he is. Good. Underestimation has been the downfall of many of her enemies. "What do you want?" "Roman recognition of my legitimate claim to the throne of Egypt. Military support to remove my brother and his advisors. A treaty of alliance between Egypt and Rome, not as client and patron, but as equals." Caesar actually laughs at that last part. Equals? Cleopatra, Rome has conquered most of the known world. Egypt is one kingdom. Egypt feeds a third of Rome's population. Egypt controls the trade routes between East and West. Egypt has wealth that makes Roman senators weep with envy. And Egypt has something Rome has always lacked: continuity. My family has ruled here for 3 centuries. Your republic tears itself apart every generation with civil wars and power struggles. She steps closer, close enough that she can see the calculation in his eyes, the way he's weighing her words. "You need Egypt, Caesar, not as a conquered province, but as a willing ally. Help me reclaim my throne, and I'll help you secure your position in Rome. Together, we can reshape the Mediterranean world. And if I refuse, then you'll face whatever plots my brother's advisors have hatched with their Roman allies alone. You'll leave Alexandria with nothing but grain tribute and the enmity of whoever eventually takes the Egyptian throne. And you'll spend the rest of your life wondering what might have been. Caesar circles her slowly, like a predator evaluating prey. But she stands perfectly still, letting him look, letting him think. She knows what he sees: youth, beauty, intelligence, ambition. But more than that, he sees opportunity. Tell me about these plots. Restore me to my throne first. I need proof that you're worth the risk. She reaches into her silk robes and withdraws a small scroll. This is a letter from Metellus Scipio to my brother's advisors, written 6 months ago. It discusses Roman senators who are prepared to move against the dictator when he returns from Egypt. It mentions specific names, specific plans. Caesar takes the scroll, unrolls it, reads quickly. His expression doesn't change, but she sees his jaw tighten almost imperceptibly. This could be forged. It could be. But you recognize the handwriting, don't you? And the seal. He studies the document more carefully, and she knows he's seeing what she saw. The unmistakable evidence that his enemies have been planning his downfall for months. Where did you get this? My brother's advisors have been corresponding with your enemies, hoping to position themselves favorably when you're gone. They didn't count on the queen they exiled having her own intelligence network. Caesar rolls up the scroll, hands it back to her. What else do you know? Everything. Names, dates, methods, resources, the location of their meetings, the bribes they've paid, the promises they've made. I know which gladiators they've bought, which praetorian guards they've turned, which senators can still be saved, and which are too far gone. And you'll share all of this if I help you reclaim your throne. I'll share all of this when you help me reclaim my throne. The difference being, trust, Caesar. You're asking me to gamble my life on your word. I'm asking you to gamble your future on mine. They stare at each other for a long moment, and she can almost hear the wheels turning in his brilliant mind. He's calculating odds, weighing risks, considering possibilities she probably hasn't even thought of. Finally, he nods. What do you need? 3 cohorts should be sufficient. My brother's army is larger, but most of the soldiers are loyal to Egypt, not to Ptolemy personally. When they see their rightful queen returning with Roman support, they'll remember where their true allegiance lies. And after you're restored? After I'm restored, Egypt becomes Rome's most valuable ally. Our grain feeds your people. Our gold finances your legions. Our strategic position secures your eastern frontier. And our intelligence network keeps you alive long enough to enjoy it all. Caesar extends his hand. Partners. She takes it, feeling the calluses from years of sword work, the strength that's conquered half the world. Partners. But as their hands meet, something unexpected happens. The political calculation, the careful negotiation, the strategic alliance, all of it is suddenly enhanced by a sense of mutual respect. She sees recognition in his eyes, the way he straightens slightly, the way his grip on her hand becomes more firm and assured. This wasn't just about power anymore. This was about finding someone who understood the weight of leadership, the loneliness of command, the burden of making decisions that affected millions of lives. Cleopatra, he says, and her name sounds different in his voice now, less formal, more respectful. Caesar, she replies, and realizes this feels like the beginning of a true partnership. They're still standing there, hands clasped in agreement, when her device chimes with an incoming message. The sound breaks their focus, and they step apart, both returning to the urgent matter at hand. She checks the message, and her blood runs cold. We need to leave. Now. What is it? My brother's guards. Someone saw me entering the city. They're searching the library district. Even as she speaks, they can hear voices outside, the tramp of military sandals on stone. Caesar's hand goes instinctively to his sword, but she shakes her head. This way. There's a passage that leads to the harbour. She leads him through corridors that wind deeper into the library complex, past rooms filled with scrolls from every corner of the known world. Behind them, the voices grow louder as Ptolemy's soldiers search the building. Your intelligence network, Caesar says as they hurry through the darkness. How extensive is it? Extensive enough. Servants, merchants, soldiers, courtesans. People tend to ignore those they consider beneath them. My predecessors understood that information is more valuable than gold. They reach a narrow staircase that spirals downward into darkness. Cleopatra produces a small oil lamp from her robes, and its flickering light reveals ancient stone walls carved with hieroglyphs. This passage dates to the time of the first Ptolemy, she explains as they descend. My ancestors were cautious about unexpected visits. They built alternate routes throughout the palace quarter. Wise of them, Caesar mutters, and she can hear grudging admiration in his voice. They emerge onto a small dock where a boat waits, crewed by two men whose loyalty to Cleopatra is absolute. As they push off into the harbour, she can see torches moving through the library complex, Ptolemy's soldiers continuing their search. Where now? Caesar asks. My ship, it's anchored beyond the lighthouse. As they row through Alexandria's famous harbour, past and beneath the towering lighthouse that's one of the wonders of the world, Cleopatra finds herself impressed by Caesar's quick thinking and adaptability. In the moonlight, with his carefully composed political mask relaxed, Caesar looks thoughtful and genuinely interested in her ideas. You're taking an enormous risk, she says quietly. If Ptolemy's advisors realize you're helping me, it could complicate your position. Everything worth doing involves risk, he replies. Besides, I've already decided you're worth the gamble. Why? He's quiet for so long, she thinks he won't answer. Then, because you remind me of myself at your age. Ambitious, brilliant, desperate to prove yourself worthy of the power you've inherited. And because... He pauses, looks at her directly. Because I think together we could reshape the world. Her device chimes again, and this time it's a message from one of her agents in the palace. Ptolemy's advisors are calling an emergency council. They know Caesar met with someone tonight. She shows Caesar the message. They'll move against you soon, probably tomorrow. Let them try. I have 3 legions in Alexandria. Caesar, these aren't barbarian chieftains or Gallic warriors. These are people who've been playing the game of Mediterranean politics for centuries. They'll find ways to attack you that your legions can't defend against. Such as deception, bribery, spreading false rumors. They'll find ways to attack you that your legions can't defend against. They'll turn your own men against you, make you doubt your closest allies. They'll spread rumors in Rome that you've been influenced by an Egyptian queen, that you're planning to abandon Roman interests. She can see the implications hitting him, the way his tactical mind immediately begins calculating new variables, new threats. Which is why we need to move quickly, she continues. Strike tomorrow, before they can implement whatever they're planning. Restore me to the throne in a single, decisive action that leaves no time for counter-moves. They've reached her ship now, a sleek vessel built for speed rather than cargo. As Caesar climbs aboard, she can see him taking in details, the quality of the construction, the discipline of her crew, the subtle evidence of wealth and competence everywhere he looks. Impressive, he says. My ancestors didn't hold Egypt for 3 centuries by accident, she replies. We've always understood that power requires both intelligence and resources. In her private cabin, with maps of Alexandria spread across a table, they begin planning the diplomatic mission that will restore her to the throne. But as they work, bending over charts and discussing strategy, she finds herself impressed by his wisdom and experience, the way he approaches problems with careful analysis, the way his mind leaps immediately to the crucial strategic points, the way he listens thoughtfully to her suggestions. Here, he says, pointing to the palace complex, if we move at dawn, we can approach the main gates and request a peaceful audience before your brother's advisors realize what's happening. The guards will be surprised initially, but once they see me with proper Roman support. She trails off, studying his face in the lamplight. You're not just doing this for political advantage, are you? What do you mean? This partnership, this alliance, there's something else. Caesar straightens, and for a moment his diplomatic expression becomes more genuine. You're a remarkable leader, Cleopatra. Brilliant, wise, courageous. I see in you someone who truly understands the responsibility of power. And I see in you someone who values justice over convenience, she replies. That's rare in a leader. The moment feels significant, like the beginning of a partnership that could change the course of history. Caesar extends his hand once more. To a friendship between equals, he says, to changing the world through wisdom rather than force, she agrees. As dawn approaches and they finalize their plans, her device chimes one final time. The message is from her most trusted agent in the palace. Everything is ready. Your people await their queen's return. She shows Caesar the message, and he smiles with the confidence of a man who's never lost a campaign. Ready? he asks. I've been ready my entire life, she replies. As the sun rises over Alexandria, 3 Roman cohorts march through the city streets with the rightful queen of Egypt at their head. Ptolemy's guards, faced with the choice between conflict with Rome's greatest general or welcoming back their legitimate ruler, make the wise decision. By noon, Cleopatra VII Philippator sits once again on the throne of Egypt, and Caesar stands beside her as both ally and trusted friend. The messages they exchanged that night, those digital words that sparked a peaceful revolution, would be remembered by history as the moment when 2 of the ancient world's greatest leaders first found each other. But in the end, it wasn't technology that changed everything. It was 2 brilliant, principled people recognizing their shared values and having the wisdom to work together. And if you think their story ends there, you're wrong. Because this is just the beginning of what happens when Cleopatra can text Caesar, when the Queen of Egypt and the Master of Rome discover that some partnerships are powerful enough to reshape the world through diplomacy, friendship, and mutual respect.